Many secular people turn to Jesus at some point in time. Chapter 1. Religious Wisdom. Religious Testimonies on YouTube. The 700 Club YouTube channel has this playlist with over 500 videos. This is a professional TV channel. They got some hardcore guests there. A lot of people turn to God for one reason or another. Unshackled, the radio show, is good. 100 Huntley Street is a good YouTube channel from Canada. God Stories, Testimonies. The 700 Club. What about God as a way to live? 1 Timothy 6:9-11. 9 Those who want to be rich, however, fall into temptation and become ensnared by many foolish and harmful desires that plunge them into ruin and destruction. 10 For the love of money is the root of all kinds of evil. By craving it, some have wandered away from the faith and pierced themselves with many sorrows. 11 But you, O man of God, flee from these things and pursue righteousness, godliness, faith, love, perseverance, and gentleness. I was raised a Catholic and brought up a Christian in Catholic schools. Our catechism classes in school started with how evil people are from Eve through to Cain to the fags at Sodom and Gomorrah. The Old Testament, aka the Torah, is full of evil people. Even God decided the human race sucked and destroyed most of them in the flood. In the New Testament, Jesus says, love your neighbor as you love yourself, Matthew 22:39. I have concluded that this is impossible for me because I'm so cynical. At my age of 60, I've had my share of scoundrels lying to me, cheating me, and stealing from me. Dante Alighieri's poem Divine Comedy contains the Inferno, where he defines the 7 deadly sins: lust, gluttony, greed, sloth, wrath, envy, and pride. We live in a world of pride, everybody with their little egos thinking they're the smartest and hottest thing around. The way I deal with it is to minimize contact with people. That way they can't lie to me or steal from me, and I don't get angry enough to do violent things to them. I feel spiritual in my soul. I studied near-death experiences, evil possessions, and stuff like that. It seems more likely that there is a supernatural dimension than not. If you go to youtube.com, then Film Rise Television, you'll find episodes of the TV show Unsolved Mysteries, which contain some good paranormal stories. My favorite religious stuff to listen to is the stories at either unshackled.org. youtube.com, type in Unshackled playlist. Wisdom in the Bible. Blessed is the man who finds wisdom, the man who gains understanding, for she is more profitable than silver and yields better returns than gold. Proverbs 3:13-14. Now listen, you who say, today or tomorrow we will go to this or that city, spend a year there, carry on business and make money. Why, you do not even know what will happen tomorrow. James 4:13-14. The price of wisdom is above rubies. Job 28:18. Happy is the man that finds wisdom and the man that gets understanding. For it is more profitable than silver and it gives greater return than fine gold. Wisdom is more precious than rubies, and all the things you can desire are not to be compared to it. Length of days is in its right hand, and in its left hand are riches and honor. Its ways are ways of pleasantness, and all its paths are peace. Wisdom is a tree of life and a blessing to those who lay hold upon it. Proverbs 3:13-18. Wisdom is the principal thing, therefore get wisdom, and with all your getting get understanding. Proverbs 4:7. How much better is it to get wisdom than gold, and to get understanding rather than silver. Proverbs 16:16. He that gets wisdom loves his own soul. He that keeps understanding shall find good. Proverbs 19:8. Better is a poor and a wise child than an old and foolish king, who will no longer take advice. Ecclesiastes 4:13. Woe unto them that are wise in their own eyes and prudent in their own sight. Isaiah 5:21. Give your servant an understanding heart to judge your people, so that I may discern between good and evil. Kings 3:9-10. Teach us to number our days, that we may apply our hearts to wisdom. Psalms 90:12. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. Psalms 111:10. Folly is joy to him that is lacking in wisdom, but a man of understanding walks uprightly. Proverbs 15:21. Whoever is full loathes honey, but to the hungry even bitter food is sweet. Proverbs 17:7. Whoever hears these sayings of mine and does them, will be like a wise man who built his house upon a rock. And the rain descended and the floods came and the winds blew and beat upon that house, yet it fell not, for it was founded upon a rock. And every one that hears these sayings of mine and does them not, shall be like a foolish man who built his house upon the sand. And the rain descended and the floods came and the winds blew and beat upon that house and it fell and great was the fall of it. Matthew 7:24-27. Whatever things are true. Whatever things are honest. Whatever things are just. Whatever things are pure. Whatever things are lovely. Whatever things are admirable, if anything is excellent or praiseworthy, think on these things. Philippians 4:8. Who is a wise man and endowed with knowledge among you? Let him show it with good conduct, in deeds done in the meekness that comes from wisdom. If you have bitter envying and strife in your hearts, do not boast of it and do not deny the truth. This so-called wisdom descends not from heaven, but is earthly, sensual, devilish. For where envying and strife are, there is disorder and every evil work. But the wisdom that is from above is first pure, then peaceable, gentle, and easy to be entreated, full of mercy and good fruits, without partiality and without hypocrisy. James 3:13-17. The Ten Commandments. The Ten Commandments can be found in Exodus 20:1-17 of the Old Testament of the Holy Bible. 1. I am the Lord thy God. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. 2. Thou shalt not make any graven image or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is under the water under the earth. Thou shalt not bow down to them or serve them. 3. Thou shalt not take the name of the Lord thy God in vain. 4. Remember the Sabbath day and keep it holy. 5. Honor thy father and mother. 6. Thou shalt not kill. 7. Thou shalt not commit adultery. 8. Thou shalt not steal. 9. Thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor. 10. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's house. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife, nor his manservant, nor his maidservant, nor his ox, nor his ass, nor anything that is thy neighbor's. Religious quotes 1. Try hashtag 242.5, number 289, number 291 or BS 491 at the Library for Biblical Meditations. Try hashtag 248.4857 or BV 4598 for books that combine success with Christian inspiration. After conducting research into the Christian inspiration realm, I've come to the conclusion that there are two leaders, Norman Vincent Peale, born in 1898, who probably started the entire self-help movement with its right now, pragmatic nature as opposed to the academic tedium of psychology, and Robert Schuller, hourofpower.org, who's written at least 20 books on the subject and under any circumstances, cannot be accused of being humble. Some of his most profound statements are: what big dream would you dream if you knew you would not fail? If you can dream it, you can do it. If it's going to be, it's up to me. You can find his books in any Christian bookstore. Joel Osteen, joelosteen.com, has been accused of teaching the prosperity gospel that God will give you what you want because he favors Christians, but this is not biblical teaching. A true Christian is humble and lives to serve others, not to get what he or she wants. Creflo Dollar is at creflodollarministries.com. There are plenty of others like tbn.org, the Big Trinity Broadcasting Network, and 3abn.org. The Baptist Network. Some people are the worst hypocrites around. I won't name names except to say that unless you live a modest, humble life, you're not a man or woman of God. Furthermore, nobody fools me when they pretend they don't have the same type of sexual and violent thoughts I do, so if you try to come off as too pious and squeaky clean, I know you're either a phony or a ticking time bomb. Some random religious quotes are as follows. Do you not know? Have you not heard? The Lord is the everlasting God, the creator of the ends of the earth. He will not grow tired or weary, and his understanding no one can fathom. He gives strength to the weary and increases the power of the weak. Even youths grow tired and weary, and young men stumble and fall, but those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength. They will soar on wings like eagles, they will run and not grow weary, they will walk and not be faint. Ephesians 3:17-21. So that Christ may dwell in your hearts through faith. And I pray that you, being rooted and established in love, may have power, together with all the saints, to grasp how wide and long and high and deep is the love of Christ, and to know this love that surpasses knowledge, that you may be filled to the measure of all the fullness of God. Now to him who is able to do immeasurably more than all we ask or imagine, according to his power that is at work within us, to him be glory in the church and in Christ Jesus throughout all generations, forever and ever. Amen. Jeremiah 29:11. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future. Psalm 27:4. One thing I ask of the Lord, this is what I seek, that I may dwell in the house of the Lord all the days of my life, to gaze upon the beauty of the Lord and to seek him in his temple. Psalm 34:8. Taste and see that the Lord is good, blessed is the man who takes refuge in him. Proverbs 17:17. A friend loves at all times, and a brother is born for adversity. Jeremiah 29:11. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future. Psalm 27:4. One thing I ask of the Lord, this is what I seek, that I may dwell in the house of the Lord all the days of my life, to gaze upon the beauty of the Lord and to seek him in his temple. Deuteronomy 31:6. Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid or terrified because of them, for the Lord your God goes with you, he will never leave you nor forsake you. 1 John 3:1-3. With God, all things are possible. Matthew 19:26. God is a circle whose center is everywhere and whose circumference is nowhere. Religion is what keeps the poor from murdering the rich. Napoleon. Thank God, I'm still an atheist. Salvador Dali. Your dream is God's gift to you. No person can succeed without helping people. Believing in yourself means that you are the instrument through which God makes things happen. Dear God, life is a challenge. A challenge is a privilege. Make me a worthy vessel. Prayer. You are like light for the whole world. A city built on top of a hill cannot be hidden, and no one would light a lamp and put it under a clay pot. A lamp is placed on a lampstand where it can give light to everyone in the house. Make your light shine so that others will see the good that you do and will praise your Father in heaven. Matthew 5:14-16. So shun youthful passions and aim at righteousness, faith, love, and peace, along with those who call upon the Lord from a pure heart. Have nothing to do with stupid, senseless controversies, you know that they breed quarrels. And the Lord's servant must not be quarrelsome but kindly to everyone, an apt teacher, forbearing, correcting his opponents with gentleness. God may perhaps grant that they will repent and come to know the truth. 2 Timothy 2:22-25. Sanctuary. Amid all the traffic of the ways, turmoils without, within, make in my heart a quiet place, and come and dwell therein. A little shrine of quietness, all sacred to thyself, where thou shalt all my soul possess, and I may find myself. A little shelter from life's stress, where I may lay me prone, and bear my soul in lowliness, and know as I am known. A little place of mystic grace, of self and sin swept bare, where I may look into thy face, and talk with thee in prayer. John Oxenham. Finally, brethren, whatever things are true, whatever things are noble, Whatever things are just. Whatever things are ours. Whatever things are lovely. Whatever things are of good report. If there is any virtue and if there is anything praiseworthy, meditate on those things. Philippians 4:8. Judge not lest ye be judged. For with what judgment you judge, you will be judged, and what measure you mete out will be measured to you in turn. Matthew 7:1-2. Fill me with thy purpose, Lord, as thou hast filled the sleeping seeds. Like them, let me grow tall in grace, blossoming in noble deeds. Lurleen Mackenzie Lee. To everything there is a season, and a time to every purpose under heaven. A time to be born and a time to die. A time to plant, and a time to pluck up that which is planted. A time to kill and a time to heal. A time to break down and a time to build up. A time to weep and a time to laugh. A time to mourn and a time to dance. A time to cast away stones, and a time to gather stones together. A time to embrace, and a time to refrain from embracing. A time to get and a time to lose. A time to keep and a time to cast away. A time to rend and a time to sow. A time to keep silence and a time to speak. A time to love and a time to hate. A time of war and a time of peace. Ecclesiastes 3:1-8. He prayed for strength that he might achieve. He was made weak that he might obey. He prayed for wealth that he might do greater things. He was given infirmity that he might do better things. He prayed for riches that he might be happy. He was given poverty that he might be wise. He prayed for power that he might have the praise of men. He was given infirmity that he might feel the need for God. He prayed for all things that he might enjoy life. He was given life that he might enjoy all things. He had received nothing that he asked for, all that he hoped for. His prayer was answered, he was most blessed. Anonymous. Nothing is impossible. Matthew 17:20. Grant me, O Lord, the royalty of inward happiness, and the serenity which comes from living close to thee. Daily renew me in the sense of joy, and let the eternal Spirit of the Father dwell in my soul and body, filling every corner of my heart with light and grace, so that, bearing about with me the infection of good courage, I may be a diffuser of life and may meet all ills, and cross all accidents with gallant and high-hearted courage, giving thee thanks always for all things. Anonymous. Give us, O Lord, a steadfast heart, which no unworthy affection may drag down. Give us an unconquered heart, which no tribulation can wear out. Give us an upright heart which no unworthy purpose may tempt. Bestow upon us also the wisdom to know thee, and a faithfulness that may finally embrace thee. Thomas Aquinas. We shall steer safely through every storm so long as our heart is right, our intention fervent, our courage steadfast, and our trust fixed on God. Saint Francis de Sales. The Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He leadeth me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil. For thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou anointest my head with oil. My cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Psalm 23. Lord, make me an instrument of your peace. Where there is hatred, let me so love. Where there is injury, let me so pardon. Where there is doubt, let me sow faith. Where there is despair, let me sow hope. Where there is darkness, let me sow light. Where there is sadness, let me sow joy. O divine Master, grant that I may not so much seek to be consoled as to console, to be understood as to understand, to be loved as to love, For it is in giving that we receive. It is in forgiving that we are forgiven. It is in dying to self that we are born of eternal life. Saint Francis Prayer. I asked God for strength that I might achieve. I was made weak that I might learn humbly to obey. I asked for health that I might do greater things. I was given infirmity that I might do better things. I asked for riches that I might be happy. I was given poverty that I might be wise. I asked for power that I might have the praise of men. I was given weakness that I might feel the need of God. I asked for all things that I might enjoy life. I was given life that I might enjoy all things. I got nothing I asked for, but everything I had hoped for. Almost despite myself. My unspoken prayers were answered. I am, among all men, most richly blessed. Anonymous. There's a miracle called friendship that dwells within the heart. And you don't know how it happens, or how it gets its start. But the happiness it brings you always gives a special lift. And you realize that friendship is God's most precious gift. Anonymous. If all lips spoke the truth, all pride was cast aside, greed was packed up and stored away, and jealousy gone. If love could rule the universe, kindness bred in every race, then you could glance into a mirror and view God in his face. Anonymous. Help me, dear Lord, as I travel towards you. There are many detours which will try to distract me away from you. Help me as I travel my path to cherish the parents you gave me. Help me to do my best in all endeavors, whether I may win or lose. Help me never to lose hope, though there may be difficult times. Help me to choose good friends. Help me to choose the right mate, so that I may have a happy family someday. Help me though I may fall, to continue on my journey towards you. Anonymous. There must be no room for rivalry and personal vanity among you, but you must humbly reckon others better than yourselves. Philippians 2:3. Lord, the newness of this day calls me to an untried way. Let me gladly take the road. Give me strength to bear my load. Thou my guide and helper be. I will travel through with thee. Henry Van Dyke. The rains came down, the streams rose and the winds blew and beat against the house, yet it did not fall because it had its foundation on the rock. Matthew 7:25. Therefore I tell you, do not be anxious about your life, what you shall eat, nor about your body, what you shall put on. For life is more than food and the body more than clothing. Luke 12:22-24. Renew a right spirit within me. Psalm 51:10. Who is a wise man? He who studies all the time. Who is strong? He who can limit himself. Who is rich? He who is happy with what he has. Talmud. Try to understand and remember that a person always tries to do what is best for himself. And if he is right when he does the best thing for himself, it is good, but if he is mistaken, it is bad, because suffering will follow after such mistakes. If you remember this, then you will never be upset by anybody, you will never reproach anybody, and you will never be an enemy to anybody. Epictetus. Life is neither suffering nor pleasure, but the business which we have to do and which we have to finish honestly, up to our life's end. Alexis de Tocqueville. I know that my work is God's work. Look at all of your knowledge as a gift, as a means of helping other people. A strong and wise person uses his gifts to support other people. John Ruskin. Forgive other people for many things, but do not forgive yourself anything. Publius Syrus. Listen and be attentive, but do not speak too much, and when you are asked a question, answer briefly. Do not be ashamed to accept that sometimes you do not know an answer to what you were asked. Do not get into an argument just for the sake of argument, and do not boast. Sufi philosophy. You should think in such a way that everybody could look into your soul and see what is transpiring there. Lucius Annius Seneca. Weeping may endure for a night, but joy cometh in the morning. Psalms 30:5. Resolutions don't usually work. There has to be a deeper commitment than that. We have to take a stand and make a declaration: I am a person who meets the Lord each day as a friend and disciple, sitting at his feet to receive a word of life. M. Basil Pennington, Lectio Divina. We all genuflect to someone, something. It may be our own ego, or money, or power, or prestige, or the God who made and sustains us. Humility places us in the arena of truth, urging us to kneel and strike our breasts. Robert F. Morneau, Ashes to Easter. Do not covet thy neighbor's wife nor his goods. Deuteronomy 5:21. Go and sell all you have and give the money to the poor, and you will have riches in heaven. Then come and follow me. Matthew 19:21. If you have faith as small as a mustard seed, you can say to this mountain, move from here to there, and it will move. Nothing will be impossible for you. Matthew 17:20. Don't forget to do good and to share what you have with those in need. Hebrews 13:16. I've learned to be content with whatever state I'm in. Philippians 4:11-12. I have learned the secret of being content in any and every situation. Be thankful. Philippians 4:12. May the God of hope fill you with all joy. Romans 15:13. In your presence is fullness of joy. Psalm 16:11. Let this mind be in you that was also in Jesus. Philippians 2:5. Be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Romans 12:2. The fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. Galatians 5:22-23. Love your neighbor as you love yourself. Galatians 5:14. What will it profit a man if he gains the whole world yet loses his soul? Mark 8:36. Love the Lord your God with all your heart and your neighbor as yourself. Luke 10:27, Matthew 22:37. It is no longer I who live but Christ who lives in me. Galatians 2:20. Comfort each other. 1 Thessalonians 5:11. Lead a quiet and peaceful life in all godliness and reverence. 1 Timothy 2:2. Love one another as I have loved you. John 15:12. Choose life. Deuteronomy 30:19. But the fruit of the Spirit is joy. Galatians 5:22. Create in me a clean heart, O God, and renew a steadfast spirit within me. Psalms 51:10. Blessed are the peacemakers. Matthew 5:9. Teach us to number our days that we may gain a heart of wisdom. Psalms 90:12. Be filled with the Spirit. Ephesians 5:18. You brethren are not in darkness. You are all sons of light. 1 Thessalonians 5:4-5. Whenever you face trials of any kind, consider it nothing but joy. James 1:2. And you shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. John 8:32. If you think you are not conceited, it means you are very conceited indeed. C.S. Lewis, The Joyful Christian. Humble people are not people who belittle themselves, who shirk all the things they should do, because they do not trust themselves. They are not creeps who demean themselves by false obsequiousness. But they are people who have the courage to face the truth about themselves and so to behave modestly. Anselm Gruen, Angels of Grace. I tell you the truth, whatever you did not do for one of the least of these, you did not do for me. Matthew 25:45. Reap what you sow. 2 Corinthians 9:6. Be still and know that I am God. Psalms 46:10. Look out for another's interests, not just for your own. Philippians 2:4. Aim for perfection. Be of one mind, live in peace, and the God of love and peace will be with you. 2 Corinthians 13:11. Cast all your anxiety on God because He cares for you. 1 Peter 5:7. Do not let evil conquer you, but use good to defeat evil. Romans 12:21. Love must be completely sincere. Hate what is evil, hold on to what is good. Romans 12:9. To whom much is given, much is expected. Neglect not the gift that is in thee. 1 Timothy 4:14. Thus I command you, to love one another. John 15:17-19. Do not seek happiness elsewhere. Give thanks to God, who made necessary things simple and complicated things unnecessary. Gregory Scovarota. Be brave, stout-hearted, and courageous. Psalm 27:14. Do not worry about your life. Matthew 6:25. The patient in spirit is the proud in spirit. Ecclesiastes 7:8. Enter ye at the strait gate, for wide is the gate and broad is the way that leadeth to destruction. Matthew 8:13. I will walk into my house with blameless heart. Psalm 101:2. It is the thought life that defiles you. For from within, out of a person's heart, come evil thoughts, sexual immorality, theft, murder, adultery, greed, wickedness, deceit, eagerness for lustful pleasure, envy, slander, pride, and foolishness. All these vile things come from within, they are what defile you and make you unacceptable to God. Mark 7:20-23. For what shall it profit a man if he gain the whole world and lose his own soul? Mark 8:36. Judge not and you will not be judged, condemn not and you will not be condemned, forgive and you will be forgiven, give and it shall be given to you, good measure, pressed down, shaken together, running over, will be put into your lap. For the measure you give will be the measure you get back. Luke 6:37-38. Do not be conceited. Romans 12:16. You will know the truth and it shall set you free. John 8:32. God has not given you a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind. 2 Timothy 1:7. Real life is not measured by how much we own. Luke 12:15. God resides in the proud but gives grace to the humble. James 4:6. Use hospitality to one another without grudging. 1 Peter 4:9. Whatsoever you do, do it heartily. Colossians 3:23. When 2 or 3 gather in my name, I am with them. Matthew 18:20. It's fine to be zealous and to be so always. Galatians 4:18. Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I fear no evil, for thou art with me. Psalms 23:4. For where your treasure is, there will your heart be also. Matthew 6:21. He leadeth me beside still waters. Psalm 23:2. The man who uses well what he is given shall be given more. Matthew 25:29. But the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, self-control, against such there is no law. Galatians 5:22-23. If we live by the Spirit, let us also walk by the Spirit. Galatians 5:25. Let not your heart be troubled. John 14:1. I will put a new spirit within you. Ezekiel 11:19. But I have calmed and quieted my soul. Psalms 131:2. I have given thee a wise and understanding heart. I Kings 3:12. He shall not fail nor be discouraged. Isaiah 42:4. For God hath not given us the spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind. 2 Timothy 1:7. When times are good, be happy, but when times are bad, consider that God has made one as well as the other. Ecclesiastes 7:14. The Lord is close to the broken-hearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit. Psalms 34:18. If anything is excellent or praiseworthy, think about such things. Philippians 4:8. Accept one another. Romans 15:7. Your grief will turn to joy. John 16:20. He restores my soul. Psalms 23:3. And Jesus looking upon them said, With men, it is impossible but not with God, for with God all things are possible. Mark 10:27. Live as instruments of light. Ephesians 5:8-10. Live a life worthy of the calling you have received. Ephesians 5:1. Be completely humble and gentle, be patient, live with one another in love. Ephesians 4:1-2. Give thanks for everything. Ephesians 5:20. If you imitate God, your life will be characterized by reverence, obedience, gentleness, and purity. Ephesians 5:35. Don't let any unwholesome talk come out of your mouth. Ephesians 4:29. Let not the wise man boast of his wisdom, or the strong man boast of his strength, or the rich man boast of his riches, but let him who boasts boast about this, that he understands and knows me, that I am the Lord, who exercises kindness, justice, and righteousness on earth, for in these I delight. Jeremiah 9:22. Be of sound mind, self-controlled and sober-minded. Titus 2:5. For the grace of God that brings salvation has appeared to all men. Grace teaches us to say no to ungodliness and worldly passions, and to live self-controlled, upright and godly lives in this present age. Titus 2:11-12. Get rid of all bitterness, rage, anger, brawling, slander, every form of malice, and have nothing to do with the unfaithful works of darkness. Ephesians 5:11. To be pure, all things are pure. But to those who are corrupt and do not believe, nothing is pure. In fact, both their minds and consciences are corrupted. They claim to know God, but by their actions they deny Him. They are detestable, disobedient, and unfit for doing anything good. Titus 1:15-16. Live according to your word. Psalms 119:9. Create in me a pure heart and renew a steadfast spirit within me. Psalms 51:10. Keep a clear conscience, so that those who speak maliciously against your good behavior in Christ may be ashamed of their slander. Peter 3:16. But love your enemies, do good unto them and be kind to them without the expectation of getting anything back. Luke 6:35. Faith is believing what you know is not true or will never happen. Religion is what keeps the poor from plundering the rich. Hell is paved with good intentions. Be kind to all living things, especially those that are helpless. Be merciful. Be thankful for what you got. Look at life through the eyes of a child. Lord, help me to become a useful instrument to the world. Grant me patience, Lord, when my dreams feel far away, and help me to enjoy the ride. Live in such a way that those who know but don't know God will come to know God because of you. Make it a practice to judge people in the best light at all times, in all circumstances. Help me to look beyond my petty concerns to find inspiration. With God, life is eternal. Everything should be easy and joyful. You shouldn't care too much about worldly things, just in the Spirit of God. Lord, let my light always shine for your glory here on earth. Keep the helping chain going. Religious quotes 2. Set your affection on things above, not on things on the earth. Colossians 3:2. Talk no more so exceedingly proud, let not arrogance come out of your mouth. I Samuel 2:3. As the height of heaven above earth, so strong is his faithful love for those who fear him. As the distance of east from west, so far from us does he put our faults. Psalm 103:8-12. I seek for God that he may find me, because I have learned empirically that this is how it works. I seek, he finds. Madeline L. Engel, The Irrational Season. Be comforted. You would not be seeking me if you had not found me. Blaise Pascal, Pensées, 7, 552. I will lie down and sleep in peace. For you alone, O Lord. Make me dwell in safety. Psalm 4:8. Pray and let God worry. Martin Luther. God does not give us everything we want, but He does fulfill all His promises, leading us along the best and straightest paths to Himself. Dietrich Bonhoeffer. For men to seek their own glory is not glory. Proverbs 25:27. The Lord shall cut off all flattering lips and the tongue that speaks proud things. Psalms 12:3. Be not conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind, so that you may prove what is the good and acceptable and perfect will of God. Through the grace given to me I say to every man that is among you, not to think of himself more highly than he ought, but to think soberly, in accordance with the measure of faith God has given each man. Romans 12:1-3. For those who are self-seeking, who do not obey the truth but obey unrighteousness, there will be indignation and wrath. Romans 2:8. God resists the proud, but gives grace to the humble. James 4:6. For what is your life? It is like a vapor that appears for a little time and then vanishes away. Rather, you ought to say, if the Lord wills, we shall live and do this or that. James 4:13-15. Take heed that the light which is in you is not darkness. Luke 11:35. You are the light of the world. A city that is set on a hill cannot be hid. Neither do men light a candle and put it under a bushel, but on a candlestick, and it gives light to all that are in the house. Let your light so shine before men that they may see your good works and glorify your Father who is in heaven. Matthew 5:13-16. Be not deceived, God is not mocked, for whatever a man sows, that shall he reap. Galatians 6:7. You will save the afflicted people, but will bring down haughty looks. Psalms 18:27. Lay aside all malice and all deceit and hypocrisies and envies and all evil speakings. 1 Peter 2:1. He that will love life and see good days, let him refrain his tongue from evil and let his lips speak no deceit. 1 Peter 3:10. Do not be deceived, bad company corrupts good morals. 1 Corinthians 15:33. See you a man wise in his own conceit? There is more hope for a fool than for him. Proverbs 26:12. By the grace given to me I say to every man that is among you not to think more highly of himself than he ought to think, but to think soberly, in accordance with the measure of faith God has given to each man. For as we have many members in one body and all members have not the same function, so we, being many, are one body in Christ and everyone members one of another. Romans 12:3-6. Let another man praise you and not your own mouth, a stranger and not your own lips. Proverbs 27:2. He that is of a proud heart stirs up strife, but he who puts his trust in the Lord shall be made prosperous. Proverbs 2:8-25. A man's pride shall bring him low, but honor shall uphold the humble in spirit. Proverbs 29:2-3. The lofty looks of man shall be humbled and the haughtiness of men shall be bowed down, and the Lord alone shall be exalted in that day. Isaiah 2:11. Woe to those who are wise in their own eyes, and prudent in their own sight. Isaiah 5:21. He has shown strength with his arm, he has scattered the proud in the imagination of their hearts. He has put down the mighty from their seats and lifted up those of low estate. He has filled the hungry with good things, and the rich he has sent away empty. Luke 1:51-53. You shall not follow the crowd to do evil. Exodus 23:2. Enter in at the narrow gate. For wide is the gate and broad is the way that leads to destruction, and many there are that go in that way, but narrow is the gate and narrow is the way, which leads to life, and few there are that find it. Matthew 7:13-14. Be not wise in your own eyes, fear the Lord and depart from evil. Proverbs 3:7. When pride comes, then comes shame, but with the lowly is wisdom. Proverbs 11:2. Only by pride comes strife, but with the well-advised is wisdom. Proverbs 13:10. Everyone that is proud in heart is an abomination to the Lord, he shall not be unpunished. Pride goes before destruction and a haughty spirit before a fall. Better it is to be of a humble spirit with the lowly than to divide the spoil with the proud. Proverbs 16:5-19. I've learned to be content with whatever state I'm in. Philippians 4:11-12. I am with you always, even to the end of the age. Matthew 28:20. I have learned the secret of being content in any and every situation. Be thankful. Philippians 4:12. May the God of hope fill you with all joy. Romans 15:13. In your presence is fullness of joy. Psalm 16:11. Let this mind be in you that was also in Jesus. Philippians 2:5. Be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Romans 12:2. The fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. Galatians 5:22-23. Love your neighbor as you love yourself. Galatians 5:14. What will it profit a man if he gains the whole world yet loses his soul? Mark 8:36. Love the Lord your God with all your heart and your neighbor as yourself. Luke 10:27, Matthew 22:37. It is no longer I who live but Christ who lives in me. Galatians 2:20. Comfort each other. 1 Thessalonians 5:11. Lead a quiet and peaceful life in all godliness and reverence. 1 Timothy 2:2. Love one another as I have loved you. John 15:12. Choose life. Deuteronomy 30:19. But the fruit of the Spirit is joy. Galatians 5:22. Create in me a clean heart, O God, and renew a steadfast spirit within me. Psalms 51:10. Blessed are the peacemakers. Matthew 5:9. Teach us to number our days that we may gain a heart of wisdom. Psalms 90:12. Be filled with the Spirit. Ephesians 5:18. You brethren are not in darkness. You are all sons of light. 1 Thessalonians 5:4-5. Whenever you face trials of any kind, consider it nothing but joy. James 1:2. And you shall know the truth and the truth shall set you free. John 8:32. Favorite quotes from the book of Proverbs. Proverbs and Psalms, both books in the Bible, are some of the best time-tested, common-sense wisdom around. To give subtlety to the simple, to the young man knowledge and discretion. A wise man will hear and will increase learning, and a man of understanding shall attain unto wise counsels. Proverbs 1:4-5. When wisdom enters into your heart and knowledge is pleasant unto your soul, discretion shall preserve thee, understanding shall keep thee. Proverbs 2:10-11. Happy is the man that finds wisdom and the man that gets understanding. Proverbs 3:13. Keep sound wisdom and discretion. Proverbs 3:21. Get wisdom, get understanding, forget it not. Proverbs 4:5. Enter not into the path of the wicked and go not in the way of evil men. Proverbs 4:14. Keep thy heart with all diligence, for out of it are the issues of life. Proverbs 4:23. Let your eyes look straight ahead. Proverbs 4:25. These are the 6 things the Lord hates, 7 are an abomination to him. A proud look, a lying tongue, and hands that shed innocent blood. A heart that devises wicked things, feet that are swift in running to mischief, a false witness that speaks lies, and he that sows discord among his brethren. Proverbs 6:16-19. Wise men store up knowledge. Proverbs 10:1. Hatred stirs up strifes, but love covers all sins. Proverbs 10:12. When pride comes, then comes shame, but with the lowly is wisdom. The integrity of good people will guide them, but the evil of bad people will destroy them. Proverbs 11:2-3. The good man does good to his soul, but the bad man will destroy himself. Proverbs 11:11. The generous soul will be made rich. Proverbs 11:25. He who guards his lips guards his life, but he who speaks harshly will come to ruin. Proverbs 13:3. Pride only breeds quarrels, but wisdom is found in those who take advice. Proverbs 13:10. Wealth gotten by vanity will be diminished, but he that gathers by labor shall increase. Proverbs 13:11. Hope deferred makes the heart sick, depression, but inspiration is the tree of life. Proverbs 13:12. A longing fulfilled is sweet to the soul, inspired action to better yourself. Proverbs 13:19. The righteous eats to satisfy his soul, but the belly of the wicked shall want. Proverbs 13:25. He that is slow to wrath is of great understanding, but he that is hasty of spirit exalts folly. Proverbs 14:29. A sound heart is the life of the flesh, but envy the rottenness of the bones. Proverbs 14:30. A gentle answer turns away wrath, but a harsh word stirs up anger. Proverbs 15:1. Merry heart makes a cheerful countenance, but sorrow breaks the heart. Proverbs 15:13. He that is of merry heart has a continual feast. Proverbs 15:15. Pride goeth before destruction, a haughty spirit before a fall. Proverbs 16:18. Pleasant words are as a honeycomb, sweet to the soul and health to the bones. Proverbs 16:24. Better is a little with righteousness than great revenues without right. Proverbs 16:8. Wisdom is better than gold. Proverbs 16:16. Pride goes before destruction, and a haughty spirit before a fall. Proverbs 16:18. Better to be of humble spirit with the lowly than to divide the spoil with the proud. Proverbs 16:19. Pleasant words are as honeycomb, sweet to the soul and health to the bones. Proverbs 16:24. Better a patient man than a warrior, a man who controls his temper. Proverbs 16:32. A merry heart does good like a medicine, but a broken spirit dries the bones. Proverbs 17:22. A man of knowledge uses words with restraint, and a man of understanding is of an excellent spirit. Proverbs 17:27. Even a fool when he holds his peace is counted as wise, and he that shuts his lips is esteemed as a man of understanding. Proverbs 17:28. A fool's mouth is his destruction, and his lips are the snare of his soul. Proverbs 18:7. Before destruction the heart of man is haughty, and before honor is humility. Proverbs 18:12. He who answers before listening, that is his folly and his shame. Proverbs 18:13. The spirit of a man will sustain his infirmity, but a wounded spirit who can bear? Proverbs 18:14. The heart of the prudent gets knowledge, and the ear of the wise seeks knowledge. Proverbs 18:15. Death and life are in the power of the tongue. Proverbs 18:21. Good sense makes a man slow to anger, and it is his glory to overlook an offense, listen to advice and accept instruction. Proverbs 19:11. He that follows after righteousness and mercy finds life, righteousness, and honor. Proverbs 21:21. Whoso keepeth his mouth shut and his tongue keepeth his soul from troubles. Proverbs 21:23. He that loves pureness of heart, for the grace of his lips the king shall be his friend. Proverbs 22:11. Make no friendship with an angry man. Proverbs 22:24. As a man thinks within himself, so he is. Proverbs 23:7. Spare the rod, spoil the child. Proverbs 23:13-14, Proverbs 29:15. A wise man is strong, a man of knowledge increases strength. Proverbs 24:5. Don't stay too long at your neighbor's house, thus wearing out your welcome and inviting hate. Proverbs 25:17. If your enemy is hungry, give him food. If he's thirsty, give him water to drink. Proverbs 25:21. Don't brag because you don't know what tomorrow will bring. Proverbs 27:1. Hell and destruction are never full, so the eyes of man are never satisfied. Proverbs 27:20. A fool gives full vent to his anger, but a wise man keeps himself under control. Proverbs 29:11. If a king hearken to lies, all his servants are corrupt. Proverbs 29:21. Where there is no vision, the people perish. Proverbs 29:18. An angry man stirs up dissension, and a hot-tempered man commits many sins. Proverbs 29:22. Pride ends in a fall, but honor shall uphold the humble in spirit. Proverbs 29:23. Remove far from me vanity and lies, give me neither poverty nor riches, feed me with food convenient for me. Proverbs 30:8. The Book of Ecclesiastes. The Book of Ecclesiastes was written by the philosopher thought to be the wise King Solomon, contemplating his own life and human life in general. It never really struck me how wise and profound it was until I heard a radio show where they were reading through it. The guy said it should be taught in every philosophy program in the world, and I agree. In my opinion, it's probably the wisest book in the Bible along with Proverbs, considering it was written some 2,500 years ago in such primitive times compared to these days with all our technology and mass communications. I picked what I thought were the best parts of the book that dealt with the search for wisdom in life. If you want the whole thing, go to any Bible. Chap 1. 2. It is useless, useless, said the philosopher. Life is useless, all useless. You spend your life working, laboring, and what do you have to show for it? 4 generations come and generations go, but the world stays just the same. 5. The sun still rises and it still goes down, going wearily back to where it must start all over again. 6. The wind blows south, the wind blows north, round and back again. 7. Every river flows into the sea, but the sea is not yet full. The water returns to where the rivers began and starts all over again. 8. Everything leads to weariness, a weariness too great for words. Our eyes can never see enough to be satisfied, our ears can never hear enough. 9. What has happened before will happen again. What has been done before will be done again. There is nothing new in the whole world. 10. Look, they say, here is something new. But no, it has all happened before. Long before we were born. 11. No one remembers what has happened in the past, and no one in days to come will remember what happens between now and then. I, the philosopher, have been over Israel in Jerusalem. 13. I determined that I would examine and study all the things that are done in this world. God has laid a miserable fate upon us. 14. I have seen everything done in this world, and I tell you, it is all useless. It is like chasing the wind. 15. You can't straighten out what is crooked, you can't count things that aren't there. 16. One told myself, I have become a great man, far wiser than anyone who ruled Jerusalem before me. I know what wisdom and knowledge really are. 17. I was determined to learn the difference between knowledge and foolishness, wisdom and madness. But I found out that I might as well be chasing the wind. 18. The wiser you are, the more worries you have, the more you know, the more it hurts. Chap 2. 1. I decided to enjoy myself and find out what happiness is. But I found that this is useless. 2. 2. I discovered that laughter is foolish, that pleasure does you no good. 3. Driven on by my desire for wisdom, I decided to cheer myself up with wine and have a good time. I thought that this might be the best way people can spend their short lives on earth. 4. I accomplished great things. I built myself houses and planted vineyards. 5. I planted gardens and orchards, with all kinds of fruit trees in them. I dug ponds to irrigate them. 7. I bought many slaves, and there were slaves born in my household. I owned more livestock than anyone else who had ever lived in Jerusalem. 8. I also piled up silver and gold from the royal treasuries of the lands I ruled. Men and women sang to entertain me, and I had all the women a man could want. 9. Yes, I was great, greater than anyone else who had ever lived in Jerusalem, and my wisdom never failed me. 10. Anything I wanted, I got. I did not deny myself any pleasure. I was proud of everything I had worked for, and all this was my reward. 11. Then I thought about all that I had done and how hard I had worked doing it, and I realized that it didn't mean a thing. It was like chasing the wind, of no use at all. 12. After all, a king can only do what previous kings done. So I started thinking about what it meant to be wise or reckless or foolish. 13. Oh, I know, wisdom is better than foolishness, just as light is better than darkness. 14. The wise can see where they are going and fools cannot. But I also know that the same fate is waiting for us all. 15. I thought to myself, what happens to fools is going to happen to me too. So what have I gained from being so wise? Nothing, I answered, not a thing. 16. No one remembers the wise and no one remembers fools. In days to come, we will all be forgotten. We must die, wise and foolish alike. 17. So life came to mean nothing to me, because everything in it had brought me nothing but trouble. It had all been useless, I had been chasing the wind. 18. Nothing that I had worked for and earned meant a thing to me, because I knew that I would have to leave it to my successor. 19. And he might be wise, or he might be foolish, who knows? Yet he will own everything I have worked for, everything my wisdom has earned for me in this world. It is all useless. 20. So I came to regret that I had worked so hard. 21. You work for something with all your wisdom, knowledge, and skill, and then you have to leave it all to someone who hasn't had to work for it. It is useless and it isn't right. 22. You work and worry your way through life, and what do you have to show for it? 23. As long as you live, everything you do brings nothing but worry and heartache. Even at night your mind can't rest. It is all useless. 24. The best thing we can do is eat and drink and enjoy what we have earned. And yet, I realized that even this comes from God. 25. How else could you have anything to eat or enjoy yourself at all? 26. God gives wisdom, knowledge, and happiness to those who please Him, but He makes sinners work, earning and saving, so that what they get can be given to those who please Him. It is all useless. It is like chasing the wind. Chap 3. 1. Everything that happens in this world happens at the time God chooses. 2. He sets the time for birth and the time for death, the time for planting and the time for pulling up. 3. The time for killing and the time for healing, the time for tearing down and the time for building. 4. He sets the time for sorrow and the time for joy, the time for mourning and the time for dancing. 5. The time for making love and the time for not making love, the time for kissing and the time for not kissing. 6. He sets the time for finding and the time for losing, the time for saving and the time for throwing away. 7. The time for tearing and the time for mending, the time for silence and the time for talk. 8. He sets the time for love and the time for hate, the time for war and the time for peace. What do we gain from all our work? 10. I know the heavy burdens that God has laid on us. 11. He has set the right time for everything. He has given us a desire to know the future, but never gives us the satisfaction of fully understanding what He does. 12. So I realized that all we can do is be happy and do the best we can while we are still alive. 13. All of us should eat and drink and enjoy what we have worked for. It is God's gift. 14. I know that everything God does will last forever. You can't add anything to it or take anything away from it. And one thing God does is to make us stand in awe of Him. 15. Whatever happens or can happen has already happened before. God makes the same thing happen again and again. 22. So I realized then that the best thing we can do is enjoy what we have worked for. There is nothing else we can do. There is no way for us to know what will happen after we die. Chap 4. 1. Then I looked again at all the injustice that goes on in this world. The oppressed were crying and no one would help them. No one would help them, because their oppressors had power on their side. 2. 1. Envy those who are dead and gone, they are better off than those who are still alive. 3. But better off than either are those who have never been born, who have never seen the injustice that goes on in this world. 4. 1. Have also learned high people work so hard to succeed, it is because they envy the things their neighbors have. But it is useless. It is like chasing the wind. 5. They say that we would be fools to fold our hands and let ourselves starve to death. 6. Maybe so, but it is better to have only a little, with peace of mind, than be busy all the time with both hands, trying to catch the wind. 7. I have noticed something else in life that is useless. 8. Here is someone who lives alone. He has no son, no brother, yet he is always working, never satisfied with the wealth he has. For whom is he working so hard and denying himself any pleasure? This is useless, too, and a miserable way to live. 9. 2 are better off than one, because together they can work more effectively. If one of them falls down, the other can help him up. But if someone is alone and falls, it's just too bad, because there is no one to help him. 11. If it is cold, two can sleep together and stay warm, but how can you keep warm by yourself? 12. Two people can resist an attack that would defeat one person alone. A rope made of 3 cords is hard to break. 13 to 14. Someone may rise from poverty to become king of his country, or go from prison to the throne, but if in his old age he is too foolish to take advice, he is not as well off as a young man who is poor but intelligent. L6. There may be no limit to the number of people a king rules. When he is gone, no one will be grateful for what he has done. It is useless. It is like chasing the wind. Chap 5. 8. Don't be surprised when you see that the government oppresses the poor and denies them justice and their rights. Every official is protected by someone higher, and both are protected by still higher officials. 9. Even a king depends on the harvest. 10. If you love money, you will never be satisfied. If you long to be rich, you will never get all you want. It is useless. 11. The richer you are, the more mouths you have to feed. All you gain is the knowledge that you are rich. 12. Workers may or may not have enough to eat, but at least they can get a good night's sleep. The rich, however, have so much that they stay awake worrying. 13. Here is a terrible thing that I have seen in this world. People save up their money for a time when they may need it. 14. And then lose it all in some bad deal and end up with nothing left to pass on to their children. 15. We leave this world just as we entered it, with nothing. In spite of all our work, there is nothing we can take with us. 16. Isn't it right? We go just as we came. We labor, trying to catch the wind, and what do we get? 17. We get to live our lives in darkness and grief, worried, angry and sick. 18. Here is what I have found out: the best thing we can do is eat and drink and enjoy what we have worked for during life that God has given us, this fate. 19. If God gives us wealth and property and lets us enjoy them, we should be grateful and enjoy what we worked for. It is a gift from God. 20. If God has allowed us to be happy, we will not worry too much about how short life is. Chap 6. 7. We do all our work just to get something to eat, but we never have enough. 8. How are the wise better off than fools? What good does it do the poor to know how to face life? 9. It is useless, it is like chasing the wind. It is better to be satisfied with what you have than to be always wanting something else. 10. Everything that happens was already determined long ago, and we all know that you cannot argue with someone who is stronger than you. The longer you argue, the more useless it is, and you are no better off. 12. How can anyone know what is best for us in this short, useless life of ours, a life that passes like a shadow? How can we know what will happen in the world after we die? Chap 7. 1. A good reputation is better than expensive perfume, and the day you die is better than the day you are born. 2. It is better to go to a home where there is mourning than to one where there is a party, because the living should always remind themselves that death is waiting for us all. 3. Sorrow is better than laughter, it may sadden your face, but it sharpens your understanding. 4. Someone who is always thinking about happiness is a fool. A wise person thinks about death. 5. It is better to have wise people reprimand you than to have stupid people sing your praises. 6. When a fool laughs, it is like thorns crackling in a fire. It doesn't mean a thing. 7. You may be wise, but if you cheat someone, you are acting like a fool. If you tassy a bribe, you ruin your character. 8. The end of something is better than its beginning. Patience is better than pride. 9. Keep your temper under control, it is foolish to harbor a grudge. 10. Never ask, oh, why were things so much better in the old days? It's not an intelligent question. 11. Everyone who lives ought to be wise, it is as good as receiving an inheritance. 12. And will give you as much security as money can. Wisdom keeps you safe, this is the advantage of knowledge. 13. Think about what God has done. How can anyone straighten out what God has made crooked? 14. When things are going well for you, be glad, and when trouble comes, just remember, God sends both happiness and trouble, you never know what is going to happen next. 15. My life has been useless, but in it I have seen everything. Some good people may die while others live on, even though they are evil. L6. So don't be too good or too wise, why kill yourself? 17. But don't be too wicked or too foolish, either, why die before you have to? 18. Avoid both extremes. If you have reverence for God, you will be successful anyway. 19. Wisdom does more for a person than 10 rulers can do for a city. 20. There is no one on earth who does what is right all the time and never makes a mistake. 21. Don't pay attention to everything people say, you may hear your servant insulting you. 22. And you know yourself that you have insulted other people many times. 23. One used my wisdom to test all of this. I was determined to be wise, but it was beyond me. 24. How can anyone discover what life means? It is too deep for us, too hard to understand. 25. But I devoted myself to knowledge and study, I was determined to find wisdom and the answers to my questions and to learn how wicked and foolish stupidity is. 26. I found something more bitter than death, the woman who is like a trap. The love she offers you will catch you like a net, and her arms around you will hold you like a chain. A man who pleases God can get away, but she will catch the sinner. 27. Yes, said the philosopher, I found this out little by little while I was looking for answers. 28. I have looked for other answers but have found none. I found one man in 1,000 that I could respect, but not one woman. 29. This is all that I have learned, God made us plain and simple, but we have made ourselves very complicated. Chap 8. 1. Only the wise know what things really mean. Wisdom makes them smile and makes their frowns disappear. 9. I saw all this when I thought about the things that are done in this world, a world where some people have power and others have to suffer under them. 10. Yes, I have seen the wicked buried and in their graves, but on the way back from the cemetery people praise them in the very city where they did their evil. It is useless. 11. Why do people commit crimes so readily? Because crime is not punished quickly enough. A sinner may commit 100 crimes and still live. Oh yes, I know what they say, if you obey God, everything will be all right. 13. But it will not go well for the wicked. Their life is like a shadow and they will die young, because they do not obey God. 14. But this is nonsense. Look at what happens. In the world, sometimes the righteous get the punishment of the wicked and the wicked get the reward of the righteous. I say it is useless. 15. So I am convinced that we should enjoy ourselves, because the only pleasure we have in this life is eating and drinking and enjoying ourselves. We can at least do this as we labor during the life that God has given us in this world. 16 Whenever I tried to become wise and learn what goes on in the world, I realized that you could stay awake night and day L7. And never be able to understand what God is doing. However hard you try, you will never find out. The wise claim to know, but they don't. Chap 9. 3:1 Fate comes to all alike, and this is as wrong as anything that happens in this world. As long as people live, their minds are full of evil and madness, and suddenly they die. 4 But anyone who is alive in the world of the living has some hope. A live dog is better off than a dead lion. 5 Yes, the living know they are going to die, but the dead know nothing. They have no further reward, they are completely forgotten. 6 Their loves, their hates, their passions, all died with them. They will never again take part in anything that happens in this world. 7 Go ahead, eat your food and be happy, drink your wine and be cheerful. It's all right with God. Always look happy and cheerful. 9 Enjoy life with the one you love, as long as you live the useless life that God has given you in this world. Enjoy every useless day of it, because that is all you will get for all your trouble. 11 I realized another thing, that in this world fast runners do not always win the races, and the brave do not always win the battles. The wise do not always earn a living, intelligent people do not always get rich, and capable people do not always rise to high positions. Bad luck happens to everyone. 12 You never know when your time is coming. Like birds suddenly caught in a trap, like fish caught in a net, we are trapped at some evil moment when we least expect it. 16 One have always said that wisdom is better than strength, but no one thinks of the poor as wise or pays any attention to what they say. 17 It is better to listen to the quiet words of someone wise than to the shouts of a ruler at a council of fools. 18 Wisdom does more good than weapons. But one sinner can undo a lot of good. Chap 10. One dead flies can make a whole bottle of perfume stink, and a little stupidity can cancel out the greatest wisdom. 2 It is natural for the wise to do the right thing and for fools to do the wrong thing. Their stupidity will be evident even to strangers they meet along the way. They let everyone know that they are fools. 4 If your ruler becomes angry with you, do not hand in your resignation. Serious wrongs may be pardoned if you keep calm. 5 Here is an injustice I have seen in the world, an injustice caused by rulers. 6 Stupid people are given positions of authority while the rich are ignored. 11 Knowing how to charm a snake is of no use if you let the snake bite first. 12 What the wise say brings them honor, but fools are destroyed by their own words. 13 They start out with silly talk and end up with pure madness. 14 A fool talks on and on. No one knows what is going to happen next, and no one can tell us what will happen after we die. 15 Only someone too stupid to find his way home would wear himself out with work. 18 When you are too lazy to repair your roof, it will leak and the house will fall in. 19 Feasting makes you happy and wine cheers you up, but you can't have either without money. 20 Don't criticize the king, even silently, and don't criticize the rich, even in the privacy of your bedroom. A bird might carry the message and tell them what you said. Chap 11. 1 Invest your money in foreign trade, and one of these days you will make a profit. 2 Put your investments in several places. Many places even, because you never know what kind of bad luck you are going to have in this world. 3 No matter which direction a tree falls, it will lie where it fell. When the clouds are full, it rains. If you wait until the wind and the weather are just right, you will never plant anything and never harvest anything. 5 God made everything, and you can know more, understand what he does than you understand how new life begins in the womb of a pregnant woman. 6 Do your planting in the morning and in the evening, too. You never know whether it will all grow well or whether one planting will do better than the other. 7 It is good to be able to enjoy the pleasant light of day. 8 Be grateful for every year you live. No matter how long you live, remember that you will be dead much longer. There is nothing at all to look forward to. 9 Young people, enjoy your youth. Be happy while you are still young. Do what you want to do and follow your heart's desire. But remember that God is going to judge you for whatever you do. 10 Don't let anything worry you or cause you pain. You aren't going to be young very long. Chap 12. 1. So remember your Creator while you are still young, before those dismal days and years come when you will say, I don't enjoy life. 2. That is when the light of the sun, the moon, and the stars will grow dim for you and the rain clouds will never pass away. 3. Then your arms, that have protected you, will tremble and your legs, now strong, will grow weak. Your teeth will be too few to chew your food and your eyes too dim to see clearly. 4. Your ears will be deaf to the noise of the street. You will barely be able to hear the mill as it grinds or music as it plays, but even the song of a bird will wake you from sleep. 5. You will be afraid of high places and walking will be dangerous. Your hair will turn white, you will hardly be able to drag yourself along and all desire will be gone. We are going to our final resting place and then there will be mourning in the streets. 6. The silver chain will snap and the golden lamp will fall and break, the rope at the well will break and the water jar will be shattered. 7. Our bodies will return to the dust of the earth and the breath of life will go back God, who gave it to us. 9. But because the philosopher was wise, he kept on teaching the people what he knew. He studied proverbs and honestly tested their truth. 10. The philosopher tried to find comforting words, the words he wrote were honest. 11. The sayings of the wise are like the sharp sticks that shepherds use to guide sheep and collected proverbs are as lasting as firmly driven nails. They have been given by God, the one shepherd of us all. 12. My child, there is something else to watch out for. There is no end to the writing of books and too much study will wear you out. 13. After all this, there is only one thing to say, have reverence for God and obey His commands, because this is all that we were created for. Wisdom of Solomon. This book is a part of the Deuterocanonical/Apocrypha supplements to the Bible. The following are what I deem to be the best parts. Chap 1. 4. Wisdom will never be at home with anyone who is deceitful or a slave of sin. 6. Wisdom is a spirit that is friendly to people. 11. So be sure that you do not go around complaining, it does no good, and don't engage in bitter talk. The most secret things you say will have their consequences and lying will destroy your soul. 13. God did not invent death, and when living creatures die, it gives Him no pleasure. 14. He created everything so that it might continue to exist, and everything He created is wholesome and good. There is no deadly poison in them. No, death does not rule this world. 15. For God's justice does not die. Chap 2. 4. In time, no one will remember anything we ever did, and even our names will be forgotten. Chap 5. 8. We were so proud of ourselves, we bragged about how rich we were, and now, what good has it done us? 9. All those things are gone now, they have disappeared like a shadow, like something you hear and then forget. 10. A ship sails across the waves of the ocean, but when it is gone, it leaves no trace. You cannot tell it was ever there. 11. A bird flies through the air, but leaves no sign that it has been there. It speeds along, riding through the thin air by the force of its wings, leaving behind no trace of its passing. L2. An arrow splits the air when it is shot at a target, but at once the air closes up behind it, and no one can tell where it passed. 13. 1T is the same with us, we were born and then we cease to be. Chap 6. 12. Wisdom shines bright and never grows dim, those who love her and look for her can easily find her. 13. She is quick to make herself known to anyone who desires her. 14. Get up early in the morning to find her and you will have no problem, you will find her sitting at your door. L5. To fasten your attention on wisdom is to gain perfect understanding. If you look for her, you will soon find peace of mind. 16. Because she will be looking for those who are worthy of her, and she will find you wherever you are. She is kind and will be with you in your every thought. 17. Wisdom begins when you sincerely want to learn. To desire wisdom is to love her, 18 To love her is to keep her laws, to keep her laws is to be certain of immortality, 19 Immortality will bring you close to God. 20 This desire for wisdom can prepare you to rule a kingdom. 21 So then, you that rule the nations, if you value your thrones and symbols of authority, honor wisdom so that you may rule forever. 22 I will tell you what wisdom is and how she came to be. I will not keep anything secret. I will trace her history from the beginning and make knowledge of her open to all. I will not ignore any part of the truth. 23 No jealous desire to guard my own knowledge will make me hold back anything. Wisdom has nothing in common with such an attitude. 24 No indeed, the more wise people there are, the safer the world will be. A sensible king can be depended on to give his people this kind of security. 25 Then, learn what I am about to teach you and you will profit from it. Chap 7 1-2 Like every human being, I am mortal. I am a descendant of that first man, who was made from the soil. I was conceived from the sperm of a man, in the pleasure of intercourse. For 9 months my flesh took shape in the blood of my mother's womb. 3 When I was born, I came into the world like anyone else. I began to breathe the same air we all breathe, and like everyone else, the first sound I made was a cry. 4 I was wrapped in cloths and cared for. 5 No king ever began life differently. 6 For all of us, there is one way into life and there is one way out. 7 Realizing that I was only human, I prayed and was given understanding. The spirit of wisdom came to me. 8 I regarded her more highly than any throne or crown. Wealth was nothing compared to her. 9 Precious jewels could not equal her worth. Beside wisdom all the gold in the world is a handful of sand and silver is nothing more than clay. 10 I valued her more than health and good looks. Hers is a brightness that never grows dim and I preferred it to any other light. 11 When wisdom came to me, all good things came with her. She brought me untold riches. 12 I was happy with them all, because wisdom had brought them to me. I had not realized before that she was the source of all these things. 13 I was sincere in learning from her and now I am glad to share what I learned. 14 No one can ever exhaust the treasures of wisdom. Use those treasures and you are God's friends, He approves of what you learn from her. 15 I pray to God that my thoughts may be worthy of what I have learned and that I may speak according to His will. He is wisdom's guide, He gives correction to those who are wise. 16 We are under His power and authority, we ourselves, our words, all our understanding and skills. 17 It is He who gave me true knowledge of the forces of nature, what the world is made of, how the elements behave. 18 How the calendar is determined by the movements of the sun, the changing seasons. 19 The constellations and the cycles of years. 20 He has taught me about the nature of living creatures, the behavior of wild animals, the force of the winds, the reasoning powers of human beings, the different kinds of plants and the use of their roots as medicine. 21 I learned things that were well known and things that had never been known before. 22 Because wisdom, who gave shape to everything that exists, was my teacher. The spirit of wisdom is intelligent and holy. It is of one nature but reveals itself in many ways. It is not made of any material substance and it moves about freely. It is clear, clean, and confident, it cannot be harmed. It loves what is good. It is sharp and unconquerable. 23 Kind and a friend of humanity. It is dependable and sure and has no worries. It has power over everything and sees everything. It penetrates every spirit that is intelligent and pure, no matter how delicate its substance may be. 24 Wisdom moves more easily than motion itself, she is so pure that she penetrates everything. 25 She is a breath of God's power. A pure and radiant stream of glory from the Almighty. Nothing that is defiled can ever steal its way into wisdom. 26 She is a reflection of eternal light, a perfect mirror of God's activity and goodness. 27 Even though wisdom acts alone, she can do anything. She makes everything new, although she herself never changes. From generation to generation she enters the souls of holy people and makes them God's friends and prophets. 28 There is nothing that God loves more than people who are at home with wisdom. 29 Wisdom is more beautiful than the sun and all the constellations. She is better than light itself. 30 Because night always follows day, but evil never overcomes wisdom. Chap 8 1 Her great power reaches into every part of the world and she sets everything in useful order. 2 Wisdom has been my love. I courted her when I was young and wanted to make her my bride. I fell in love with her beauty. 3 She glorifies her noble origin by living with God, the Lord of all, who loves her. 4 She is familiar with God's mysteries and helps determine his course of action. 5 Is it good to have riches in this life? Nothing can make you richer than wisdom, who makes everything function. 6 Is knowledge a useful thing to have? Nothing is better than wisdom, who has given shape to everything that exists. 7 Do you love justice? All the virtues are the result of wisdom's work, justice and courage, self-control and understanding. Life can offer us nothing more valuable than these. 8. Do you want to have wide experience? Wisdom knows the lessons of history and can anticipate the future. She knows how to interpret what people say and how to solve problems. She knows the miracles that God will perform and how the movements of history will develop. 9 So I decided to take wisdom home to live with me, because I knew that she would give me good advice and encourage me in times of trouble and grief. 10 I thought to myself, because of her I will be honored wherever people come together. The old men will respect me, even though I am young. 11 They will find that my opinions show deep insight and those in power will admire me. 12 When I am silent, they will wait for me to speak, and when I speak, they will pay attention. Even when I speak at length, they will listen with concentration. 13 Because of wisdom I will gain immortality, I will live forever in the memory of those who come after me. 14 I will hold power over nations and peoples. 15 Dreaded tyrants will be seized with fear at the mention of my name. I will be famous, as a good king and as a brave soldier. L6 When I come home to wisdom, I will find contentment because there is no conflict or pain in living with her, only happiness and joy. 17 And so I thought it over, to be wedded to wisdom is to live forever. L8 To love her is to be perfectly happy, to do her work is to be rich beyond measure, to share her company is to have sound judgment, to converse with her is to be honored. Then I was determined to take wisdom as my bride. 19 One had a pleasant personality even as a child. I had been fortunate enough to receive a good soul. Or rather, I was given a sound body to live in because I was already good. 20 Still, I realized that I would never receive wisdom unless God gave her to me, and knowing that only God could give her to me was itself a sign of understanding. So I prayed, begging the Lord with all my heart. 9 God of my ancestors, merciful Lord, by your word you created everything. 2 By your wisdom you made us humans to rule all creation. 3 To govern the world with holiness and righteousness, to administer justice with integrity. 4 Give me the wisdom that sits beside your throne, give me a place among your children. 5 I am your slave, as was my mother before me. I am only human. I am not strong and my life will be short. I have little understanding of the law or of how to apply it. 6 Even if someone is perfect, he will be thought of as nothing without the wisdom that comes from you. 13 Who can ever learn the will of God? 14 Human reason is not adequate for the task and our philosophies tend to mislead us. L5 Because our mortal bodies weigh our souls down. The body is a temporary structure made of earth, a burden to the active mind. 16. All we can do is make guesses about things on earth, we must struggle to learn about things that are close to us. Who, then, can ever hope to understand heavenly things? L7. No one has ever learned your will, unless you first gave him wisdom and sent your Holy Spirit down to him. 18. In this way people on earth have been set on the right path, have learned what pleases you and have been kept safe by wisdom. Happiness in the Bible. It's fine to constantly try to improve your life, but the Bible also encourages us to enjoy our lives now and accept life as is. This is the attitude of gratitude with which you should travel if you want to be happy. Instead of seeking financial improvement for the future, focus more on savoring the present. Don't let yourself get brainwashed by corporate advertising. A sound heart is the life of the body, but envy the rottenness of the bones. Proverbs 14:30. All the days of the afflicted are evil, but he who is of a merry heart has a continual feast. Proverbs 15:15. Even in laughter the heart is sorrowful and mirth may end in grief. Proverbs 14:13. Give me neither poverty nor riches, feed me with only as much food as I need. Proverbs 30:8. Happy is the man whom God corrects, therefore despise not the chastening of the Almighty, for he makes sore and binds up, he wounds and his hands make whole. Job 5:17-28. The triumphing of the wicked is short and the joy of the hypocrite but for a moment. Job 20:5. His anger endures but a moment, in his favor is life. Weeping may endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning. You have turned my mourning into dancing. You have put off my sackcloth and circled me with gladness. Psalms 30:5. There is nothing better for a man, than that he should eat and drink and that he should make his soul enjoy good in his labor. This also, I saw, was from the hand of God. Ecclesiastes 2:24. Better is a dry morsel and quietness with it, than a banquet in a house full of troubles. Proverbs 17:1. A merry heart does good like a medicine, but a broken spirit dries up the bones. Proverbs 17:22. Better is what the eye sees than the wandering of desire, this is futile, a chasing after the wind. Ecclesiastes 6:9. I have learned, in whatever state I am, to be content. I know what it is to have little and I know what it is to have plenty. Everywhere and in all things I have learned to endure both fullness and hunger, both to have plenty and to be in need. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Philippians 4:11-13. They shall be abundantly satisfied with the prosperity of your house and you shall make them drink from the river of your pleasures. For with you is the fountain of life, in your light shall we see light. Psalms 36:8. Delight yourself in the Lord and he shall give you the desires of your heart. Psalms 37:4. There is a river whose streams shall make glad the city of God, the holy place, the dwelling place of the Most High. Psalms 46:4. Light is sown for the righteous and gladness for the upright in heart. Psalms 97:11. Happy is the man that finds wisdom and the man that gets understanding. For it is more profitable than silver and it gives greater return than fine gold. Wisdom is more precious than rubies and all the things you can desire are not to be compared to it. Length of days is in its right hand and in its left hand are riches and honor. Its ways are ways of pleasantness and all its paths are peace. Wisdom is a tree of life and a blessing to those who lay hold upon it. Proverbs 3:13-18. He that despises his neighbor sins, but he who has mercy on the poor, happy is he. Proverbs 14:21. Whoever trusts in the Lord, happy is he. Proverbs 16:20. I will greatly rejoice in the Lord, my soul shall be joyful in my God, For he has clothed me with the garments of salvation, he has covered me with the robe of righteousness, as a bridegroom decks himself with ornaments and as a bride adorns herself with her jewels. For as the earth brings forth her buds and as the garden causes the things that are sown in it to spring forth, so the Lord God will cause righteousness and praise to spring forth before all the nations. Isaiah 61:10-11. This is the day which the Lord has made, we will rejoice and be glad in it. Psalms 118:24. They that sow in tears shall reap in joy. Psalms 126:5. Blessed is everyone that fears the Lord, that walks in his ways. For you shall eat the labor of your hands, happy shall you be and it shall be well with you. Psalms 128:1-2. Happy is that people whose God is the Lord. Psalms 144:15. My soul shall be satisfied as with delightful foods and my mouth shall praise you with joyful lips. Psalm 63:5. The righteous shall be glad in the Lord and shall trust in him, and all the upright in heart shall glory. Psalm 64:10. Let the righteous be glad, let them rejoice. Before God, indeed, let them exceedingly rejoice. Psalm 68:3. The zeal for your house has consumed me. Psalm 69:9. Blessed is the people that know the joyful sound, they shall walk, O Lord, in the light of your countenance. In your name shall they rejoice all the day, and in your righteousness shall they be exalted. Psalms 89:15-16. Light is sown for the righteous and gladness for the upright in heart. Psalms 97:11. This is the day which the Lord has made, we will rejoice and be glad in it. Psalms 118:24. I will greatly rejoice in the Lord, my soul shall be joyful in my God, for he has clothed me with the garments of salvation, he has covered me with the robe of righteousness, as a bridegroom decks himself with ornaments and as a bride adorns herself with her jewels. 4. As the earth brings forth her bud and as the garden causes the things that are sown in it to spring forth, so the Lord God will cause righteousness and praise to spring forth before all the nations. Isaiah 61:10-11. Although the fig tree shall not blossom, nor fruit be on the vines, the produce of the olive fail and the fields yield no food, the flock be cut off from the fold and there be no herd in the stalls, yet I will rejoice in the Lord, I will joy in the God of my salvation. Habakkuk 3:17-18. Blessed are you when men hate you and when they exclude you from their company and insult you and slander your name for the Son of Man's sake. Rejoice in that day and leap for joy, for, behold, your reward is great in heaven, for this is how their fathers treated the prophets. Luke 6:22-23. These things have I spoken to you, so that my joy might remain in you and that your joy might be full. John 15:9-11. These things I have spoken to you, so that in me you might have peace. In the world you shall have tribulation, but be of good cheer, I have overcome the world. John 16:33. The disciples were filled with joy and with the Holy Spirit. Acts 13:52. We have access by faith into this grace in which we stand, and we rejoice in hope of the glory of God. And not only so, but we glory in tribulations also, knowing that tribulation produces patience, and patience, experience, and experience, hope. Romans 5:2-4. I am filled with comfort, I am exceeding joyful in all our tribulation. 2 Corinthians 7:4. The fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, long-suffering, gentleness, goodness, faith, meekness, self-control, against such there is no law. Galatians 5:22-23. Be not drunk with wine, which leads to immorality, but be filled with the Spirit, speaking to yourselves in psalms and hymns and spiritual songs, are singing and making melody in your hearts to the Lord. Ephesians 5:18-19. Godliness with contentment is great gain. For we brought nothing into this world, and it is certain we can carry nothing out. And having food and clothing, let us be content. 1 Timothy 6:6-8. Go your way, eat your bread with joy and drink your wine with a merry heart. Ecclesiastes 9:7. Rejoice, O young man, in your youth, and let your heart cheer you in the days of your youth. Walk in the ways of your heart and whatever your eyes see, but know that for all these things God will bring you into judgment. Ecclesiastes 11:9. These things I have spoken to you, that in me you might have peace. In the world you shall have tribulation, but be of good cheer, I have overcome the world. John 16:33. Be not drunk with wine, which leads to ruin, but be filled with the Spirit, speaking to yourselves in psalms and hymns and spiritual songs, singing and making melody in your heart to the Lord. Ephesians 5:18-19. Rejoice in the Lord always. Again I say, rejoice. Let your gentleness be known to all men. The Lord is at hand. Be anxious for nothing, but in everything by prayer and supplication with thanksgiving let your requests be made known to God. And the peace of God, which surpasses all understanding, shall keep your hearts and minds through Christ Jesus. Philippians 4:4-7. My brethren, count it all joy when you fall into various temptations, knowing that the testing of your faith produces patience. But let patience have its full effect, so that you may be mature and complete, lacking nothing. James 1:2-4. Rejoice, since you are sharing in Christ's sufferings, so that when his glory shall be revealed, you may be glad also with exceeding joy. 1 Peter 4:13. Let your lives be free from covetousness and be content with such things as you have, for he has said, I will never leave you, nor forsake you. Hebrews 13:5. A merry heart makes a cheerful countenance, but by sorrow of the heart the spirit is broken. Proverbs 15:13. All the days of the afflicted are evil, but he who is of a merry heart has a continual feast. Proverbs 15:15. For a man's life consists not in the abundance of the things which he possesses. Luke 12:15. You shall go out with joy and be led forth with peace, the mountains and the hills shall break forth before you into singing, and all the trees of wood shall clap their hands. Isaiah 55:12. I have come that they might have life and that they might have it more abundantly. John 10:10. The peace of God, which surpasses all understanding, shall keep your hearts and minds through Christ Jesus. Philippians 4:7. If you suffer for righteousness' sake, happy are you, and be not afraid of their terror, neither be troubled. Peter 3:14. Beloved, think it not strange concerning the fiery trial which is to try you, as though some strange thing happened to you. But rejoice in that you are sharing in Christ's sufferings, so that you may be glad and shout for joy when his glory is revealed. Peter 4:12. Whatever state I'm in, I will be content. Philippians 4:11. Be content with what you have. Hebrews 13:5. Being cheerful keeps you healthy. It is slow death to be gloomy all the time. Proverbs 17:22. Heaviness in the heart of man makes it stoop, but a good word makes it glad. Proverbs 12:25. God loves a cheerful giver. 2 Corinthians 9:7. Is any merry? Let him sing psalms. James 5:13. Friendship in the Bible. Let us consider how to provoke one another to love and good works, not forsaking the assembling of ourselves together, as the habit of some is, but encouraging one another, and so much the more, as you see the day approaching. Hebrews 10:24-25. This is my commandment, that you love one another as I have loved you. Greater love has no man than this, that a man lay down his life for his friends. John 15:12-13. If a brother or sister be naked and lacking daily food, and one of you says to them, Depart in peace, be warmed and filled, and yet you give them not those things which are needful to the body, what is the good of that? James 2:15-17. Grumble not against one another, brethren, lest you be condemned. James 5:9. Be all of one mind, having compassion for one another, love as brethren, be tender-hearted, be courteous, not rendering evil for evil, or abuse for abuse, but, on the contrary, blessing, knowing that you are called so that you should inherit a blessing. 1 Peter 3:8-9. This is how we know the love of God, because he laid down his life for us, and we ought to lay down our lives for the brethren. 1 John 3:16. I say to you, resist not evil, but whoever shall strike you on your right cheek, turn to him the other also. And if any man sue you at the law and take away your coat, let him have your cloak also. And whoever shall compel you to go a mile, go with him too. Give to him that asks you, and turn not away from him that would borrow from you. You have heard that it has been said, You shall love your neighbor and hate your enemy. But I say to you, love your enemies, bless those who curse you, do good to those who hate you, and pray for those who spitefully use you and persecute you, that you may be the children of your Father who is in heaven. For he makes his sun to rise on the evil and on the good, and sends rain on the just and on the unjust. For if you love those who love you, what have you? Matthew 5:39-46. The soul of Jonathan was united with the soul of David, and Jonathan loved him as his own soul. Then Jonathan and David made a covenant, because he loved him as his own soul. And Jonathan took off his own robe and gave it to David, along with his garments, even his sword and his bow. I Samuel 18:1-4. Two are better than one, because they have a good reward for their labor. For if they fall, the one will lift up his fellow, but woe to him that is alone when he falls, for he has not another to help him up. Again, if two lie together, then they have heat, but how can one be warm alone? And though one may overpower another, yet two shall withstand him, and a threefold cord is not easily broken. Ecclesiastes 4:9-12. This is my commandment, that you love one another, as I have loved you. Greater love has no man than this, that a man lay down his life for his friends. You are my friends if you do whatever I command you. Henceforth I call you not servants, for the servant knows not what his Lord does. But I have called you friends, for all things that I have heard from my Father I have made known to you. John 15:12-15. Regarding brotherly love, you need not that I write to you, for you yourselves are taught by God to love one another. And indeed you do it. Toward all the brethren which are in all Macedonia, but we appeal to you, brethren, that you increase more and more. 1 Thessalonians 4:9-10. The poor is hated even by his own neighbor, but the rich has many friends. Proverbs 14:20. A perverse man sows strife, and a gossip separates close friends. Proverbs 16:8. He that forgives a transgression promotes love, but he who repeats a matter separates true friends. Proverbs 17:9. A friend loves at all times, and a brother is born for adversity. Proverbs 17:17. A man that has friends must show himself friendly, and there is a friend that sticks closer than a brother. Proverbs 18:24. Make no friendship with an angry man, and with a furious man you shall not go, lest you learn his ways and set a snare for your soul. Proverbs 22:24-25. Withdraw your foot from your neighbor's house, lest he grow weary of you and so hate you. Proverbs 25:17. As a madman who shoots firebrands, arrows, and death, so is the man who deceives his neighbor and says, I am only joking. Proverbs 26:18-19. Faithful are the wounds of a friend, but the kisses of an enemy are deceitful. Proverbs 27:6. Ambition, business, and work in the Bible. The Bible basically says that work and business are good if you do them for the glory of God, but if you do them for selfishness and egotistical ambition, you're doing them for the wrong reasons. Ambitious people are praised on the one hand because they achieve things, but if their attitudes are arrogant and haughty, they always end up hurting other people, thinking they're superior, acting elitist. Idolatry of one's own ego is not a good thing. Let nothing be done through ambition or vain conceit, but in humility let each esteem others better than themselves. Philippians 2:3. The way of man is perverse and strange, but as for the pure, his work is right. Proverbs 21:8. Trust in the Lord, and do good, so shall you dwell in the land, and truly you shall be fed. Psalms 37:3. There is nothing better for a man, than that he should eat and drink, and that he should make his soul enjoy good in his labor. This also, I saw, was from the hand of God. Ecclesiastes 2:24. What does man gain from all his labor, from all his anxious striving and toiling under the sun? For all his days are sorrowful, and his work brings grief, yes, his heart takes not rest in the night. This is also futility. Ecclesiastes 2:22-23. In all labor there is profit, but mere talk leads only to poverty. Proverbs 14:23. He that tills his land shall be satisfied with bread, but he who chases worthless pursuits is void of understanding. Proverbs 12:11. The hand of the diligent shall rule, but the lazy will be forced into slave labor. Proverbs 12:24. The slothful man does not roast what he took in hunting, but the diligent man gains precious wealth. Proverbs 12:27. The Father, who without favoritism judges according to every man's work. 1 Peter 1:17. And the Lord God took the man and put him into the Garden of Eden to work it and to tend it. Genesis 2:15. In the sweat of your face shall you eat bread, till you return to the ground, for out of it were you taken, for dust you are and to dust shall you return. Genesis 3:19. Remember the Sabbath day, to keep it holy. 6 days shall you labor, and do all your work, but the seventh day is the Sabbath of the Lord your God. In it you shall not do any work, you, nor your son, nor your daughter, your manservant, nor your maidservant, nor your cattle, nor the stranger that is within your gates. For in 6 days the Lord made heaven and earth, the sea, and all that in them is, and rested the seventh day, therefore the Lord blessed the Sabbath day and made it holy. Exodus 20:8-11. If a man think himself to be something, when he is nothing, he deceives himself. But let every man test his own work, and then shall he have rejoicing in himself alone, and not in another. For every man shall bear his own burden. Galatians 6:3-5. I considered that all labor and every skill come from man's envy of his neighbor. This is also meaningless, a chasing after the wind. Ecclesiastes 4:4. Come to me, all you that labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you, and learn from me, for I am meek and lowly in heart, and you shall find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy, and my burden is light. Matthew 11:28-30. What is a man profited, if he gain the whole world and lose his own soul? Or what shall a man give in exchange for his soul? Matthew 16:26. Let us not be weary in well-doing, for in due season we shall reap, if we do not give up. Galatians 6:9. Better is a handful with quietness than both the hands full with toil and a chasing after the wind. Ecclesiastes 4:6. What is a man profited, if he gain the whole world, and lose his soul? Matthew 16:26. This one thing I do, forgetting what lies behind and reaching forth to those things which are before, I press toward the mark for the prize of the high calling of God in Christ Jesus. Philippians 3:13-14. You shall not defraud your neighbor, nor rob him, the wages of him that you hired shall not stay with you all night until the morning. Leviticus 19:13. You shall not oppress a hired servant who is poor and needy, whether he is of your brethren or of your strangers that are in your land. At day's end you shall pay him his wages, neither shall the sun go down upon it, for he is poor, and is counting on it, lest he cry against you to the Lord, and it be sin to you. Deuteronomy 24:14-15. By much slothfulness the building decays, and through idleness of the hands, the house falls through. Ecclesiastes 10:18. My beloved brethren, be steadfast, unmovable, always abounding in the work of the Lord, since you know that your labor is not in vain in the Lord. 1 Corinthians 15:5-8. Go to the ant, you sluggard, consider her ways, and be wise. How long will you sleep, O sluggard? When will you arise out of your sleep? Yet a little sleep, a little slumber, a little folding of the hands to sleep, so shall your poverty come on you like a bandit, and scarcity like an armed man. Proverbs 6:6, 9-11. As vinegar to the teeth and as smoke to the eyes, so is the sluggard to those who send him. Proverbs 10:26. The slothful man does not roast his game, but the diligent man obtains good things. Proverbs 12:27. The soul of the sluggard desires, and has nothing, but the soul of the diligent shall be made prosperous. Proverbs 13:4. The way of the slothful man is overgrown with thorns, but the way of the righteous is made level. Proverbs 15:19. He that is slothful in his work is brother to him that is a great waster. Proverbs 18:9. Slothfulness brings on deep sleep, and an idle soul shall suffer hunger. Proverbs 19:15. The craving of the slothful will be the death of him, for his hands refuse to labor. Proverbs 21:25. The lazy man will not plow by reason of the cold, at harvest time he shall beg, and have nothing. Proverbs 20:4. The thoughts of the diligent lead to abundance, but everyone who is hasty is led to poverty. Proverbs 21:5. The drunkard and the glutton shall come to poverty, and drowsiness shall clothe a man with rags. Proverbs 23:2. He that tills his land shall be satisfied with bread, but he who chases worthless pursuits is void of understanding. Proverbs 12:11. The hand of the diligent shall rule, but the lazy will be forced into slave labor. Proverbs 12:24. The slothful man does not roast what he took in hunting, but the diligent man gains precious wealth. Proverbs 12:27. In all labor there is profit, but mere talk leads only to poverty. Proverbs 14:23. He that is slothful in his work is brother to him that is a great waster. Proverbs 18:9. The thoughts of the diligent lead only to prosperity, but those of the hasty lead only to want. Proverbs 21:5. Do you see a man diligent in his business? He shall stand before kings. Proverbs 22:29. He that tills his land shall have plenty to eat, but he who follows after foolish fantasies shall have poverty. Proverbs 28:19. I looked on all the works that my hands had made, and on the labor that I had labored to do, and, behold, all was meaningless, a chasing after the wind, and there was no profit under the sun. Ecclesiastes 2:11. Behold what I have seen, it is good and fitting for one to eat and to drink, and to enjoy the good of all his labor that he does under the sun all the days of his life, which God gives him, for this is his lot, this is the gift of God. Ecclesiastes 5:18-19. Whatever your hand finds to do, do it with your might. Ecclesiastes 9:10. Labor not for the food which perishes, but for that food which endures to everlasting life, which the Son of Man shall give to you. John 6:27. I have coveted no man's silver, or gold, or apparel. Yes, you yourselves know, that my hands have supported myself and my companions. I have showed you all things, how that in laboring you ought to support the weak, and to remember the words of the Lord Jesus, how he said, it is more blessed to give than to receive. Acts 20:33-35. Be not slothful in business, be fervent in spirit, serving the Lord. Romans 12:11. He who sows sparingly shall reap also sparingly, and he who sows bountifully shall reap also bountifully. 2 Corinthians 9:6. Let him that stole steal no more, but rather let him labor, working with his hands the thing which is good, so that he may be able to give to those in need. Ephesians 4:28. Serve with good will, as doing it for the Lord, not for men. Ephesians 6:6-7. Study to lead a quiet life, and to do your own business, and to work with your own hands, as we commanded you, so that you may walk honestly toward outsiders, and that you may lack nothing. 1 Thessalonians 4:11-12. Now we command you, brethren, in the name of our Lord Jesus Christ, that you withdraw yourselves from every brother who is idle and not living according to the tradition he received from us. For you know how you ought to follow us, for we were not idle while among you, nor did we eat any man's bread without paying, but we labored night and day so that we might not burden any of you. This was not because we have no right, but in order to make ourselves an example to you to follow. For even when we were with you, this we commanded you, if any will not work, neither should he eat. For we hear that there are some of you are living in idleness, not working at all, mere busybodies. Now such as these we command and exhort by our Lord Jesus Christ, so that with quietness they work and earn their own living. 2 Thessalonians 3:6-12. If any provide not for his own, and specially for those of his own house, he has denied the faith, and is worse than an infidel. 1 Timothy 5:8. Listen now, you rich men, weep and wail for the miseries that shall come upon you. Behold, the wages of the laborers who have harvested your fields, which you kept back by fraud, cry out, and the cries of the harvesters have entered into the ears of the Lord Almighty. You have lived in pleasure and luxury on the earth, you have fattened your hearts, as for a day of slaughter. James 5:1-5. There is no iniquity with the Lord our God, nor favoritism toward persons, nor taking of gifts. 2 Chronicles 19:7. The thoughts of the diligent lead only to prosperity, but those of the hasty lead only to want. Proverbs 21:5. See you a man diligent in his business? He shall stand before kings. Proverbs 22:29. He that tills his land shall have food in abundance, but he who follows fleeting fantasies shall have poverty. Proverbs 28:19. The sleep of a laboring man is sweet, whether he eat little or much, but the abundance of the rich will not allow him to sleep. Ecclesiastes 5:22. Whatever your hand finds to do, do it with your might. Ecclesiastes 9:10. Be not slothful in business, be fervent in spirit, serving the Lord. Romans 12:11. Whether you eat, or drink, or whatever you do, do all to the glory of God. 1 Corinthians 10:31. My beloved brethren, be steadfast, unmovable, always abounding in the work of the Lord, since you know that your labor is not in vain in the Lord. 1 Corinthians 15:58. Serve with good will, as doing it for the Lord, not for men. Ephesians 6:6-7. Study to lead a quiet life, and to do your own business, and to work with your own hands, as we commanded you, so that you may walk honestly toward outsiders, and that you may have lack of nothing. 1 Thessalonians 4:11-12. Listen, now, you who say, today or tomorrow we will go into such a city, and continue there a year, and buy and sell, and make money. And yet you do not know what will happen tomorrow. For what is your life? It is like a vapor, that appears for a little time, and then vanishes away. Rather, you ought to say, if the Lord wills, we shall live, and do this or that. James 4:13-15. Better is a little with righteousness than great revenues gained dishonestly. Proverbs 16:8. The rich man's wealth is his strong city, and like a high wall in his own conceit. Proverbs 18:11. Be of the same mind one toward another. Be not high-minded, but be willing to condescend to men of low estate. Be not wise in your own conceits. Romans 12:16. Behold, some that are last shall be first, and some that are first shall be last. Luke 13:30. See you a man wise in his own conceit? There is more hope for a fool than for him. Proverbs 26:12. Let him that thinks he stands firm take heed lest he fall. 1 Corinthians 10:12. Wise men die, likewise the fool and the senseless perish, and leave their wealth to others. Their inward thought is that their houses shall continue forever, and their dwelling places to all generations. They call their lands after their own names. Nevertheless man, despite his honors, abides not, he is like the beasts that perish. Such is the fate of the foolish, and of their followers who approve their sayings. Like sheep they are laid in the grave, death shall feed on them, and the upright shall have dominion over them in the morning, and their beauty shall decay in the grave, far from their dwelling. But God will redeem my soul from the power of the grave, for he shall receive me. Be not afraid when one is made rich, when the glory of his house is increased, for when he dies he shall carry nothing with him, his glory shall not descend with him. Though while he lived he was counted as blessed, and men will praise you when you prosper, he shall go to the generation of his fathers, they shall never see light. Man that is held in honor and lacking in understanding is like the beasts that perish. Psalms 49:10-20. He that is greedy of gain troubles his own house. Proverbs 15:27. Woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites! For you are like whitewashed tombs, which appear beautiful outwardly, but within are full of dead men's bones, and of all kinds of filth. Even so, you outwardly appear righteous to men, but within you are full of hypocrisy and dishonor. Matthew 23:27. Better it is to be of humble spirit with the lowly than to divide the spoil with the proud. Proverbs 16:19. Better is a handful with quietness, than both the hands full with toil and a chasing after the wind. Ecclesiastes 4:6. In many dreams and many words there is also meaninglessness. Ecclesiastes 5:7. The race is not to the swift, nor the battle to the strong, nor bread to the wise, nor riches to men of understanding, nor favor to men of skill, but time and chance happen to them all. Ecclesiastes 9:11. Woe to those who add house to house, that lay field to field, till there are no places left, that they may live alone in the midst of the earth. In mine ears said the Lord Almighty, surely the many houses shall be desolate, even great and fair, without inhabitants. Isaiah 5:8-9. The devil took him up into an exceedingly high mountain, and showed him all the kingdoms of the world, and the glory of them, and said to him, All these things will I give you, if you will fall down and worship me. Then said Jesus to him, Get you hence, Satan, for it is written, You shall worship the Lord your God, and him only shall you serve. Matthew 4:8-10. What is a man profited, if he shall gain the whole world, and lose his own soul? Or what shall a man give in exchange for his soul? Matthew 16:26. Whoever will be great among you, let him be your servant. Matthew 20:26. Woe to you who are rich, for you have already received your consolation. Woe to you who are full, for you shall hunger. Woe to you that laugh now, for you shall mourn and weep. Luke 6:24-25. Jesus spoke a parable to them, saying, The ground of a certain rich man brought forth plentifully. And he thought within himself, saying, What shall I do, because I have no room to store my fruits? And he said, This will I do, I will pull down my barns, and build larger, and there will I store all my fruits and my goods. And I will say to my soul, Soul, you have much goods laid up for many years, take your ease, eat, drink, and be merry. But God said to him, You fool, this night your soul shall be required of you. Then whose shall those things be, which you have provided? So is he who lays up treasure for himself, and is not rich toward God. Luke 12:16-21. Behold, some that are last shall be first, and some that are first shall be last. Luke 13:30. That which is highly esteemed among men is abomination in the sight of God. Luke 16:15. Jesus said to them, The kings of the pagans exercise lordship over them, and they that exercise authority upon them are called benefactors. But you shall not be so, but he who is greatest among you, let him be as the younger, and he who is chief, as he who does serve. For which is greater, he who sits at the table, or he who serves? Is it not he who sits at food? But I am among you as he who serves. Luke 22:25-27. Set your affection on things above, not on things on the earth. Colossians 3:2. If you have bitter envying and strife in your hearts, do not boast of it, and do not deny the truth. This so-called wisdom descends not from heaven, but is earthly, sensual, devilish. For where envying and strife are, there is disorder and every evil work. But the wisdom that is from above is first pure, then peaceable, gentle, and easy to be entreated, full of mercy and good fruits, without partiality and without hypocrisy. James 3:14-17. All that is in the world, the cravings of the sinful nature, and the lust of the eyes, and the pride of life, is not of the Father, but is of the world. 1 John 2:16.